Yo, 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 it's your boy AwesomeisJayell, aka the biggest music artist in the metaverse, and we are here for episode 3 of the Soundrig podcast with my lovely co-host.
Yo, this is Quentin, CEO of Soundrig, and yeah, here's Sunny.
Yeah, my name is Sunny. I'm the COO of Soundrig too. And we're
All right.
also Theo. Introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Theo. I'm the CMO and an artist. And then it's Paul.
Hello. My name is Paul, and I am a developer on the Soundrig team.
Okay, and just to let you guys know, this episode is actually a special episode because we actually have like a music roundtable going right now. And Sonny, did you want to take? Oh, matter of fact, DSQISE, introduce yourself. So the two guests that we have outside of the team, we actually got DSQISE and we got Madman. Would you guys like to introduce yourselves?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm DSQISE. I am part of the listening room and a musician, and also own a label called Quite Right Records, and obviously like very supportive of all the sound you guys do. So I'm excited for this convo.
Definitely. And Madman, how's it going?
Hey guys, my name is Asif in real life, you could say, but I founded and manage a niche psytrance label. We propagated a genre called psycho, and
Psytrance.
psytrance, and in that psycho, that's basically music over 200 BPM. I mean, that was the plan.
You should have started with that, man.
I'm sorry.
You should have started with that. Psytrance. Yeah.
So one big thing we'll be discussing today is just being label owners, right? So I myself, I am the founder and CEO of Yell Sound, which is an independent record label and production company. And I'm sure DSQISE and Asif both have their own labels as well. Would you guys like to introduce your labels?
Yeah, definitely. I run a label called Quite Right Records. It is primarily house and techno and kind of like anything subgenre house and techno. So that's from melodic to like industrial, 144 techno kind of stuff. Not quite 200 BPM, which is amazing. I'm actually super interested to hear some of your guys' stuff. Joke, Madman. But and then we also have a sister label called Quite Low Records that is like all bass music, like drum and bass, dubstep, dub, all of those types of things. But primarily what we've been building up the last 5-6 years is Quite Right. And we also do live events and kind of go in and out of the boundaries of what good, just as long as it's good music, then like good electronic music, then that's what we like to release.
All right.
Sorry. For me, I think I kind of mentioned earlier that I run a psytrance label, basically, but I don't have any kind of production knowledge, so to speak. I was a pure listener. And there was a point I wanted to release a compilation. It became really hard to release something because the music was too freaky, or it was too out of what people were used to. So slowly it became such that, I launched the label itself. So now it's been 8 years. We actually launched a sub-label last month. So the night label, Sacred Sound, is more like a nighttime label where it's really high BPM music and things like that. But for the daytime, it felt like there was something lacking from our side. So with that in mind, we launched a sub-label called Day Sacred, where the music is more, again, dark side, but more tuned for the daytime, for fluffy skies and things like that.
Interesting.
That's really cool.
All right.
And
Nice,
is that in
Sonny.
real life, or are you focusing just on the Web3? Asif.
Currently, no. So I got into Web3 like a year ago, and my day job is actually digital marketing. So after I got in here, I realized that NFTs are a great community building tool. We can really build great communities through NFTs. That is not exactly possible generally. And especially with the way Facebook, Instagram, and all of these Web2 platforms have now become money-minded, so to speak. For example, we might have like 6,000 likes or something on Facebook, but when we do put a post out, in the old days, the reach would be 2,000, 3,000 people that specific post would reach. But today, if I put out a post, regardless of how many likes, even if I get 100 likes organically, it reaches like 1,000 people, and this has become a massive issue. So unless you're actually willing to put money into these platforms, they're not going to put out your content, regardless of the people wanting this content. So when we go put out music on Bandcamp, because most of our music is free, I always believe that the more underground you are as a genre, the better it is that you put out the music for free, because that's the only way you're going to get more people to download it, listen to it, especially on high quality formats. So we pay as a label the artists, the guys who do want payments, and we release their music onward for free. So with this in mind, like in our downloads, we do get like, if certain albums have got like 4,000 downloads, 5,000 downloads, on an average after a year, all our albums get 1,000 plus downloads. So, and on SoundCloud, we do get substantial amount of plays as well. But when I wanted to communicate with my listeners, there's no place. I'm not able to, because of all the restrictions that social media platforms have. So when I came on here, and the more and more I started degening, like as much as I could. And then I started to realize that, NFTs are possibly the best way for an artist as well as a label to interact with their communities in the long run. So if I can somehow, of course, the onus is on me to bring my listeners onto Discord. But the moment they do come onto Discord, it completely depends on me how I can keep them engaged. So let's say I've said that we've got around 50 artists now. It's hard even for me to keep track of what these 50 artists are doing, because I'm following another 100 artists or 1,000 artists, and the feed gets too noisy and polluted. So let's say hypothetically we can have a place or a channel. Again, it's like imagine in NFTs you've got your sales bot, right? So imagine if you have a bot that's just pushing out an artist's upload every time he uploads. So that way the listener can check that part of things out. There's so much more that you can actually play with on Discord. And if you can manage to bring your current listeners, and this is what I mean, this doesn't work necessarily for big labels, or especially for commercial labels, but more underground. That's what I meant in the thread. Also, imagine if you're a proper metal band, a tech death metal band. These guys are loyal to a T. I mean, I was a metalhead in the old days. They're loyal to a T. They'll go to any lengths to make sure that the community is tight and together, and they have that privacy and that elitism and things like that. So as a label, I truly believe that, if we have fans, people who love us and adore us, people who come up, frank out, and just donate money, even though our releases were free, they really do care for us. But there's no platform for them to come and express and communicate that with us. So that is the label aspect of things. And when it comes to artists, like if you go over our Bandcamp, I think a lot of our releases, the artwork is done by the artists themselves. Some of these guys are really great people who master their music as well. And some of these guys are so incredibly versatile, it's not even a joke. They're really versatile. They can do psytrance, they can do techno, they can do house, they can do chill out. There's so much an artist can express. Now, me, I'm a fan first before anything else. So if my favorite artist, every time he puts out music, I make it a point to go hunt it down and buy this music and keep this music. Now imagine if I can get an NFT and the whole staking mechanism that's happening currently. You go stake and you get coins. To be honest, coins is good money, but imagine if I could get some music out of the guy. Over my favorite artist, he dropped an NFT, I went and I picked it up, and if certain of these artists, they work at at least, I don't know in your genres, but when it comes to our genres, it ranges from anywhere between 50 euros a track to like 500 to 1,000 euros a track. I mean, it's mind-boggling. If these guys release just 1,000 NFTs and there are 1,000 people who want to get it, they're literally covered for like 2 years of their expenses, so to speak, just from the music. Then they get to go out and play anyway. So that they anyway playing. This is more like passive income for the artists themselves. And some of these guys, they have this innate ability of making thousands of previews. And by the end, the track they release is completely different from the preview they dropped. But that's the reason we're on SoundCloud, listening to new underground previews to see what these guys are working at and coming up with. If we can somehow, that's the concept that I've been consistently thinking of for 6-8 months now. We just launched our Discord like 3 days ago, a week ago. And right now the whole point is I'm just onboarding our artists first, because they are the core of the the label itself, the artists and the DJs. And once we do, like I mentioned, we have these email addresses from Bandcamp. I'm going to mail these guys, ask them to come on board Discord, and slowly but steadily, eventually get them to create their wallets, airdrop them NFTs. All of them, whoever comes on board will get an airdropped NFT, and take them down the rabbit hole. And there's a lot of education to do. The artists, when I spoke to them, they were looking at me like I'm mad. So
You know what?
for them,
Record label, and JL, I think you and DSQISE can probably attest to this. You are basically the black sheep of the music industry because you're going against the grain. You're leaving the herd behind, right? As it were, and you're making new moves. And I find that interesting because when I was getting ready for this show today, I found a T-shirt that I hadn't worn in a long time. And first bit, I mean, let me draw your attention to this. This is
black sheep.
Black Sheep Coffee, right? The reason why I got this from when I used to be a concierge, coffee stand outside Old Gate Station. I bought so much coffee from there. They gave me one of their staff T-shirts. I just used to talk to them on before the shift or whatever. But what really got my attention was this, because if you can you read the back?
Yes.
Leave the herd
Hey.
behind.
Dang.
Fire.
Thinking, I was like, wow, okay, this is what we're doing at Soundrig anyway. We're leaving the herd behind because we have to be the black sheep of the music industry to make any change whatsoever. Mm-hmm. But here's what I think is a paradox, if I think it's the right term. We want to leave the herd behind because what is already broken with the record label, but music industry, is why artists are being, exploited and being stifled their careers and stuff like that, right? So we want to leave the herd behind. But as we're on Cardano and we're the pioneers of Web3, we don't want to leave the herd behind. We want to onboard as many people as possible. So, like, which one is it? Which one do we do? Or is it we are the black sheep, we move ahead, but we allow the herd to follow?
Yeah.
This is a bit more complicated though, because we're not talking about normal communities. The Cardano community and the blockchain communities are different beasts.
It's true. It's very true. I think that's been like one of the things. Like, I've pitched the idea to a lot of the artists on the label, and a lot of them are like, And so I was like, all right, fuck this. Like this is what I've been doing is basically doing everything, like learning it all, putting things out myself, doing all of that stuff. And that way I can be like, look, this is what I've done. This is what results that we're getting. These are what's happening. And now I know how to do it. And so like, this is how I can show you how we can help you as an artist find your spot in this. Like maybe you don't, as an artist, you don't give a crap about, fractionalization of your music because you don't want to give up your master rights. That's fine. Maybe we can release some really cool audiovisual pieces for you and try to like finding those directions. And so I realized like I just had to go and jump in full. Like I've gone down the vortex so hard at this point over the past 3 years that like it's kind of mind boggling. Sometimes because like going from not knowing anything to just like where we are now, but now I'm able to come back to the artist and be like, okay, here's proof. I'm not just speculating. This is what I've been doing. This is how it's working. Yes, there's this and this, but like this is what we've learned. And so I think now, like I think we were starting to talk about it the other day in that Twitter thread is like it's definitely like this onboarding, like teaching and helping the artists find their way in it, because most of them look at it and they're like, I don't know, that's definitely a lot. And you're like, it's not as bad as you think. And yeah, there's a lot of this crap that you've heard, but like, let's actually like go underneath and let me show you like what this is all about to become, because I feel like we're going there. Like you can be late if you want, but like we're going there. Everyone's going to be there eventually, even if you don't realize you're interacting with the blockchain. It's all going there. So it's good to like figure this out now and mess it up for a while now than it is to like fully, like just ignore it or act like it doesn't exist because it's like a foreign concept or whatever. So I think that's been like the biggest thing is, hey, like now let me show you what we've done. And now I think I get more artists now that are interested because they've seen that I've been putting stuff out on the blockchain. They're like, okay, I'm listening. So yeah.
When you can show people, when you can show people versus just telling them and them like understanding, you have such a more like impactful kind of proposition when you're like, yeah, like I've done this. This is actually a thing, you know? Because yeah, same with us. We have a lot of people who we reached out to, and they're like, I don't know, I want to see how it goes first, or you know.
Yeah, like 52 artists signed on, registered their interest to release their tunes, and 3 in real life, let's say, Web2 artists stepped up, were brave. You know, they've made their content and they released, and then the rest were obviously the Web3 artists, but the rest were they're just like, some people are just happy to be cheap until somebody leads them, right? And they sat back,
you see,
and
the
now
thing is that
we're ready, we want to go, and we're like, take your time now, make sure it's good.
the thing is that we still have a long way to go.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm currently talking with a lot of Web2 pretty established artists out there in order to bring them over to on the blockchain. And from the whole presentation, they are like, yeah, this is nice and the money are good, but I have an exclusive contract with this company. What's going to happen, you know?
Yeah.
So I have to explain them that, you know, this is a separate thing. You can do this while you're doing this, and they can't do that, differentiation in their minds yet that this is possible, because they've learned all these years that if you want to do this, you have to go through this, and that's it.
Yeah, and also I think some of them might be under the wrong impression, but also they have to be very careful with the contract that they've signed, because they might not be allowed to. Their whole
This is true, yeah.
Their name might be owned by the label, right? So
yeah,
what we want to do is we want to get to the talent before they make the mistake of signing something they don't understand. We're never. I mean, I would never say don't sign a record deal if it's going to make you what you want to make, you know, but where you want it to take you. However, if you can do it yourself to begin with and feel the freedom of being in control of your own content, yeah, and the creativity and the output, and then doing what you want in your passion without someone controlling your direction, then I would do that first, because the label will always sign you later if you're amazing, right?
Yeah, but if you are like 15, 20 years in the industry, and these people are giving you the money, you know, the money that you need, are you gonna, you know, sacrifice this for something new? I mean,
exactly. Okay, so this is interesting because we've got 3 people here with a label, right? Now, when I was like, when we and Quinton were talking about when we were going to launch, and we're like, okay, record labels, if they were to get interested, would we say yes or no? And I'd be like, oh, it'll be stupid to say no, because they have so many artists, so much talent with them. But would they adhere to our ethos and our philosophy? We would say to them, okay, record label, you've got 50 artists on your books, right? If you were happy to take maximum 20% cut, maximum from each artist, you're still laughing, you're still doing very, very well, and you still get to abide by our rule, which is we want the artist to get the lion's share, right? As long as they're making minimum 60%. Then,
but my idea, like, you know, to be honest, the whole point is,
what would you say, Asif, as a record label, if we as a platform said, bring your artists, as many as you want, but please, you just agree to make only 20% per artist. So if you've got 50 artists, you're still loving it, you're still making money, and you're supporting their career. But what do you think the in real life or the legacy record labels would say? Because they don't like to give more than 30-40%, right? So would they say yes or would they say no?
They definitely say no. The thing is that, you know, it's the, how do you say, these guys are going to get redundant very fast. You know, record labels themselves are going to get redundant very fast in the next 10 years or so, unless and until they actually change the way they play their game. And this is the importance of Web3 for artists. So any artist, like how you mentioned just now, Theo, like a problem where the artist feels like, you know, he cannot let go of his record label deal and come on to Web3, right? That itself, the problem is here is just hypothetically, let's say we have artist XYZ, right? And instead of approaching it directly and asking him to get into NFTs, you think about it the other way, from the other side of the spectrum. Where is the money coming from? The money is coming from the listeners. right? In the end, any artist who gets his ass out there, the only reason he's doing that is because there are 50, 100,000 people to listen to, right? So imagine you get artist XYZ and you actually build their community on Web3. And I'm not talking about pitching to them like how even Sunny mentioned. It's not necessary they even have to know it's NFTs. And this whole Reddit thing just proved that. It can just be a digital collectible, right? Just tell these folk that you come here, and the only thing that you might get might just be access to the artist. You have no idea how many fans are out there who would just love to be on a chat where it's not necessarily the artist also. It can be the artist's personal manager using the artist account, just saying hi. One hi, and there'll be enough people coming in there. I'm just trying to give an example off the top of my head, right? So the important part, even for us, even for you guys, Soundrig, everybody to focus is to figure out how to bring our communities here. Because music itself is a gigantic community that already exists. The problem in NFTs right now, if you look at it, even though NFTs are huge, this, that, how much of the true art folks have come into NFTs? That's why we are always looking at, I don't want to say XYZ pictures, but you know what I mean, right? Animal pictures and la-di-da-di-da. This is what we're looking at all the time.
This is true.
We're seeing a bigger push though, like with projects focusing on getting like the real art community, like established artists. And
true, but I'm talking general factor. Now, like, let's say Aptos is a chain just popped up, right, for NFTs and things like that. You just go on a surface level and look at those NFTs, and you look at the same NFTs on Solana, look at them on Cardano, look at them on Ethereum. Ethereum's been here for a while too. They have some great art NFTs, they do. But if you look at the volumes and where the money is going in, the people are going in, all of them don't look like art connoisseurs. You get what I'm trying to say, right? Now, you, for example, you said you have a hardcore, your folks are more techno and things like that. And I know techno is a tribe. You get what I'm saying? If you actually go to a proper techno thing, they'll be chilling out with psychedelic rock or something like that. And I know for a fact because we share similar kind of listeners, in certain aspects. Now, if you can manage to bring all of your listeners to one place, then your artist will have to follow, right? Because in the end, the money is coming from the listeners. And the same thing for the youth. Now you can somehow, instead of making a presentation, you can rather show a small community of tight folks in one genre. It can be hip hop, can be trance, wherever you look at it, because each of them are extremely unique. If you go to, I used to listen to some old school hip hop like Tupac and Biggie and all of that, and the folks I hung out with then are completely different from the metalhead folks I hung out with. I'm literally talking about their characteristics, the way they talk, the kind of things, the movies they watch, the art they check out. Everything automatically changes with music. So you can think of it as the fans of the musical genres themselves. They have an unspoken language. So we have to figure out individually, how are we going to bring them here? And because they're here, people will follow the artists. So even with me now, the only thing I've told my guys, just give me tracks. I'll take care of everything. They completely trust me because, I've won that trust now. And now it's all up to me. How am I going to bring listeners in here? And even to onboard these guys. All of these things are up to us, and we cannot farm the current NFT community because they're obviously teachers who are into different kind of interests completely. What we need to do is bring the people who listen to us outside because it's music,
Well, this is one of the challenges that we actually have, because right now it's the opposite of the real life world that we are facing here. We have a lot of talented musicians, but we don't have the communities yet. So
exactly. We have to build them.
The scales are not yet balanced, so we have all these enormous pool of talented people, and we don't have the demand for it yet, because the audiences they haven't made that transition with the musicians.
Well,
and it's
I think
our job, it's up to us to, we as creators, it's our responsibility. The onus is on us to bring these folk in. It's going to be hard, it's going to be long, but that's the only way. It's going to be a long ride. But if you look at it in a couple of years from now, in 5 years from now, that will be the grind. We'll be the thought leaders, the pioneers, all of those words that people say. We will finally be that. But the only way to be, we have to be ahead of the curve. And like you, Sunny, you said, it's a combination of being ahead of the curve so that people may follow, but also being there so that we help them for.
Yeah, well, that's
No?
what we're trying to do. I mean, like, I think we are trying a bit the opposite way that you're suggesting, more that we're trying to get artists with established communities and try and get their communities to come over. But I mean, there's a lot of factors that you're talking about that right now. Like, it's because we're so early. I mean, firstly, we have nowhere near mass adoption for Web3, so that's going to be a huge thing when Web3 and, you know, crypto starts going mainstream, and like you can start using crypto in your everyday life. Like, that would be a whole different story. But also right now, like, just to get your fans, like, even if you had a huge artist, I'm not sure a lot of their fans would necessarily go make a wallet, buy crypto, and
100%,
whatever.
100%.
So
I'm not
like,
even looking at the artist fans, I'm just thinking of
yeah,
our fans, because that's
yeah,
another
yeah.
world altogether.
So I mean, like, so like what we are trying to do is mostly like break down the barriers to entry, and then get the musicians with some fans and stuff and communities, so that we can start building a community. Because
No, I think you guys are doing a beautiful job, but I really think you guys should start focusing somehow on shifting it towards, spreading them across genres. Because that way I know you're subdividing your community, but then you're offering something important for each community. So when you're having, like, have a BA, a compilation of just hip hop artists, for example. So all the hip hop folks will have something that they love. It's not like, like the latest thing that I came in for, I asked which are the wave tracks. I just downloaded it like that when I came into Discord, right? What is wave? But after that, when I actually heard the music, I actually enjoyed Acid Decars and the trance thing. I actually enjoyed that. But apart from that, I only supported this for the sake of supporting the music. So, but it's all, how do you say? It's all mashed up into. It's everything.
It's still
And
early. It's very early. They literally just launched like seven artists. So and for the most part, they have a diverse spread of artists too as well already. But yeah, they're definitely working on that. One thing I actually wanted to speak to was fractured communities, right? And I'm calling them fractured communities because a lot has happened in the world, right? From the transition of Web 2 into Web 3.0. And I think the one thing that people are not considering, right, when it comes to building these communities is that, number one, these communities have been fractured due to COVID and all these different pandemic situations happening, right? So think about it like this, right? Web 3.0, one of the biggest hubs for community building would be Discord, right? Prior to the pandemic and prior to Web 3.0, Discord wasn't it. Like, let's keep it real. Discord was for nerds, right? It was just for nerds. You know what I mean? So yeah, exactly, right? So we have the pandemic, right? And then we have Web 3.0, right? And now we're in a situation where we're trying to onboard Web 2.0 people into Web 3.0. And like I mentioned, one of the biggest hubs of community building would be a Discord. So it's like, how do you even transition from having someone going to real world concerts? Because that's what was happening, right? Prior to Web 3.0, they were going to real life concerts and going to like album signings and things like that, right? And now we're in Web 3.0 and everyone gathers in the Discord, right? I think that's one of the biggest challenges right there when it comes to community building. And like Quentin talked about, their approach is bringing, like an artist like Chin Bees that released on Soundrig, right? He already has a community of 200,000 people that's already fans of his music, right? And that's why I wanted to bring this up, because it's like, okay, let's not make the assumption that all of these people are even gathered in one location. Like, as far as coming into Web 3.0 in a Discord, like, they would be like, what's a Discord? You know what I mean? Of course, they would support him the best way they could, but the whole culture of Web 3 is completely different from Web 2.0, especially when it comes to music.
On the adoption cycle curve, if you know, we're like still at innovators, right? We're way before pragmatists and visionaries and stuff like that. So we're still at the innovator stage, sorry. And then the artists that we're bringing on, we're asking them to share that level with us. We're like, come on, you're the very first. You're very early, by the way. Some of them are like, our fans want to support us, but they don't know how to make a wallet and stuff like that. And one thing I've said to them is, just explain to them. And if they still aren't able to do it, if they don't want to do it, if they say no, I'm not going to be bothered. Well, I'm sorry. There's an element of laziness and ignorance there, right? Inability or not wanting to just make the effort just to even try. And so
the incentive's not big enough. The incentive's not big enough at the moment.
True enough.
What if I told you that one of these artists, it was even their own like cousins or something, yeah? And when I say something, it was saying that we want to support you, but I don't want to do this thing. And I'm like, well, tell them that this is what you're doing. So you can stream my thing, you can buy an iTunes, but I'm now going into Web3. I'm trying this out. Why don't you support it and make the effort to like do the instructions? Yeah, it's very, very easy. It's like you just got to read the instructions and do it, and they don't want to do it. So these people, and unfortunately, I think there's a lot more of them than there are people who are willing to give it a go.
Yeah,
but I mean, again, like in our specific example, I think that also is a factor of us being so early in the development of our whole platform. Because I mean, right now, like, yeah, we have an amazing media player, but it's not mobile friendly yet, which is huge. I mean, we know that, and like, but once you can start listening to your tunes on your phone, you know, right there, that's something that's really big. And you know, the marketplace, when people could actually see like, oh, they could buy other people's music as well as our tunes, and you know, really take ownership of these the songs they purchase. That's another thing. And then, you know, the radio platform stream to earn service that we're going to be doing, that will be another way for them to consume music, and at the same time, you know, like support their musicians. But these are things we haven't developed yet. So it's again kind of trying to ask them to understand our vision, which can also be pretty hard to do at this point. So yeah, I mean, for sure, there's definitely more people who aren't willing to come in yet, but we're gonna get there. And as more musicians come and we build a catalog and we start getting a community like Asif has been saying, I think that will be easier and easier.
Well, the point I was going to make is the artists that have already decided to come with us have already done the important thing for us and proven to their fans, even though the fans are a bit too apprehensive, I guess, to like even try it. The more artists we get coming with us, and we prove to them that, you know, you can make music on Web3 and sell it and provide a new experience for your fans, more and more will come. It will slowly start, like you said earlier, you know, the balance will start coming the other way. But what we need to do is stay consistent and not give up and just keep going with it, because that's the only way it's going to happen. Otherwise, if we take the foot off the gas, then really we're not giving ourselves the best chance. And I'm telling you, the businesses that see us as a threat, they will take us. They will try to do whatever they can to keep as much revenue.
We have to stay consistent and keep building, because what's happening now is that mass adoption comes when something starts to impact your life, right? Web3 for the everyday normal person, for 80% of those, it's non-existent. They don't even know what Web3 is, because it's not impacting their lives like on an everyday basis. When that starts, when Web2 and the real life, let's say real life systems start to fail, like they're starting now,
yeah,
in 2-3 years time, they will start researching on their own, and you will see an explosion of wallets and people going into Web3 and trying to find what's built there. Right now, most of them, they don't have a reason, except if we point them out that, you know, we've built that. Come, have a look.
Yes.
We
built it, and they were coming. They're coming slowly, but they're definitely coming for sure.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest catalysts, for this onboarding is the tools, man. The tools have to,
Absolutely.
mature. The tools definitely have to mature. Like Quentin mentioned, mobile is huge. And right now, like we're definitely ahead of the pack. Especially in that sense of having a media player, because you gotta think about it like this. Like right now, there's not even that many wallets that are mobile on Cardano right now.
No, there
Like
aren't. There's
that's
two.
literally how early we are, right?
Yeah.
And like one of them was supporting JPEG Store, and now it doesn't anymore because I guess Eternal shut down their DApp operation or whatever. But now it's literally like one wallet mobile, and I think another one just came out yesterday. That's how early we are, right? We're that early in the game. So when you come to onboard somebody, to adopt music NFTs, it's like we don't even have that many tools to really, foster the whole communication with it. And that's
I think it's Flint Wallet, right? Flint. I thought Eternal still was with mobile.
no, they took their DApp off. I'm not sure why. I'm not sure if they had issues, but they took it off like a couple months ago.
Oh shit!
Really?
We need to get our own wallet. Simple as that. We just need a Soundrig wallet to connect directly with the meter. Done.
Hey,
Next Catalyst Fund.
That sounds amazing. That sounds amazing, man. That would be amazing if a music streaming service came out with a wallet for Cardano. That would be amazing.
You guys should have the
Even
integrated
a paper wallet would do actually. You don't need a proper hardcore wallet like how Token used to do it before. It wasn't anything fancy. You just go there, they didn't give you a seed phrase or anything like that. I think it was a custodial wallet. They had it with them or something. Something like that would be great for music also. Then later, as you educate the people, you can tell them, hey guys, send it over to a hardware wallet or send it over your Eternal, an Army or whatever, and simplify that process of them just having to keep the NFT with them, like a collectible. I think that's a change you have to start thinking.
This is why we went with MMaker, because they lowered the barriers of entry so low that even it's still like troublesome to get people to even get it right with a credit card. It's like, come on, how much more easier can we make it? But the MMaker need to come out with a wallet ASAP, because they could fix this whole thing for minting and the wallet. Without the paper wallet, it could be done easily. And I think they've got something coming on the way. So let's watch this space. But I think the people who are pioneering in this space need to come together more and actually start talking to each other about developing new stuff, rather than think, oh, is this guy competition? Are they? Do they want to be? I want to be number one. Everyone wants to be number one. Why don't we just make the space number one? All the players here win together at the same time, rather than one person trying to be like Gary Vee said. He's like, why are you trying to tear down all the buildings to be the biggest building? Why don't you just make the biggest building?
True.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, facts. And like a shameless shield, there's actually a wallet that just released called Begin Wallet. And this is actually, from what I heard, a VC funded wallet on Cardano. Yeah, I know, right?
I don't know if I'm gonna do that now. Just kidding.
Man, you know they were coming around sooner or later, man.
Of course, it's not terrible. Don't let me hate all on that. That's
hey guys, Paul is being a typical developer or coder. He's just there, saying nothing. Paul, come on.
Yeah, Paul. What do you have to say like about the tools and the maturation of the tools, and like what's your timeline that you see, like as far as how long it's going to take to develop these tools out, at least to help the onboarding with music NFTs?
I mean, as far as developing the tools, I honestly have no idea. That's a level of development I haven't even really touched yet. I've been digging into like web development and stuff like that. The tools that these guys are building out, it's like, it's cutting edge stuff, so it's really hard to say how long it's going to take. But there's one team that's been building on Cardano that I have my eye on. It's a TX Pipe Tools. I don't know if you guys have heard of them. They're building out like some of the coolest shit that I've seen. They actually have a live development environment in your browser. You can just like go to a website. It's called I'm not sure how to pronounce it, DEMETER.run, Demeter.run, and it's basically a coding environment for writing like Cardano smart contracts and stuff like that. so there's a lot of these kinds of tools that are starting to pop up in the background, which are really going to push forward overall development speed and all that stuff.
Paul, if you can get us the links to those you mentioned, we'll put them in the description of this video.
I was trying to find them, but I can't.
Yeah. I'll,
we put them there.
And you can type them on the side too on the private chat. You can drop the link in there.
Yeah, let me just make sure I got the right. Yeah, here it is. I'll drop it in the.
Yeah,
the
make
side
sure you
here.
plug in the right project here.
Yeah. So that link I just posted there is just like, it's basically a live coding environment for making like Cardano smart contracts and stuff like that. These are tools that have been available for Ethereum for a few years now. It's one of the reasons why Ethereum is the #1 go-to place for developers, because there's all these really neat tools and everything like that have existed for a long time. And this team, TX Pipe, once they get a few more of their tools dialed in and ready, I feel like it's going to speed up the onboarding process for blockchain developers, which is going to speed up the kinds of tools that are available in the ecosystem. And the quality of tools, so it's all definitely a work in progress, but it's getting there. I feel like this team specifically is going to be a huge part in pushing that forward.
Okay,
and we'll take advantage of whatever we can when it pops up. Like as far as us having our own wallet, like if we really wanted to, I believe Flint Wallet is completely open source. Like we could just fork it and reskin it and put our logo and stuff on it.
Yeah,
we got a Soundrig wallet,
Same thing with Nami. Same thing with Nami.
Or Nami.
And the marketplace.
But even if we did do that, that's totally legit. Like it's there's nothing wrong with that. That's why they're open source tools. They want people to. We would be adding our own functionality in it by putting like our media players, stuff like that into it. But that's why they open source tools, so people can fork the code and kind of experiment with it and make it their own. It's if they didn't want people to do that, they would keep it close.
You know what? We now have to edit out 40 minutes of the show because of all these alpha that we shared, and we don't want other people to get it.
Nah, I mean, it's people know it's open source. Some of this stuff, man. JPG Store literally used the open source code from the Space Buzz marketplace that Alessandro created, and also Nami Wallet as well. Like, yeah, so they've been doing this for a while, man. Like anybody could have made JPG Store, like if they wanted to. Like it was an open source code. You take it, you alter it to how you want it to be, and release your own marketplace. You know what I mean? That's just how the game works. And it's just fire how we're all building, and them making those codes open source too is also their testament to helping build a community as well. So that's fire, super fire.
Yeah,
and they got funded by SeaWorld for $6 million in the end.
Wow.
Yeah. I
didn't know what it was to the tune of, but damn, nice.
Yeah, is that number like confirmed? I didn't know that they published a number.
I got that number from you, Quentin. So
No way, no, you did not. No.
In the source is Quentin.
Back me up there, It's like
I don't want to. Maybe it was 6 million. I don't. No way. I never said that. No.
So it was at least 4 million. Because I had that number.
I think it hit 6 million. I saw this post and I saw this post today that it hit 6 million. Just go to Pool and check it out.
Okay, so yeah, I was right. No, I'm kidding.
There you go. Okay, so we fact check.
How you want the credit?
Let's go. We don't have to edit that part. Good. We on point.
Let me I'm just switching it on. Let me just recheck that.
Okay.
We'll have to fact check it, and then in post you could either put like this is all wrong if it's not right.
The point is
fake news.
You can use source code. You can
That's
use source
completely
code.
hilarious.
You can make something of it, and people won't care. They'll still fund you for what you've created because you've got a community and you've got users and stuff like that, right? Paul, let's make that wallet, man. Let's go open source.
Let's get Soundrig in every wallet, dude. Let's make that the official in-wallet player, bro.
Yes.
I mean, for real, like I would love to do that. Like,
It makes sense because
like
if they
you
can
guys
buy
need
do
it,
it.
this.
go straight
We
to the
have it.
product, there's always connected. They don't need to. Yeah, that's it.
That would be dope. Any wallet I have, you're like, oh shit, these music NFTs already pop up. I can just listen to it. Any wallet, any Eternal, Jiro, fucking Flint, anything like like Typhon, anything like, dude.
I bet Paul is silent because he has already started
Probably.
coding.
Paul's like, I'm not saying shit.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Cardano, we definitely need to get our D app game up, man. I've been around the block a little bit, man. Some of these projects, like HBAR, for instance, man, their D app game is so strong. Like, you just download the wallet, you could literally go to any marketplace, you can play games, you can do all kinds of stuff like directly in wallet. So like, I definitely foresee with the building of Cardano, that type of stuff is going to be very seamless, like to get your D app on there. Yeah, it's going to be dope when it happens though.
Like the one wallet I used that was Trust Wallet. Trust Wallet's one of the biggest wallets everyone uses, and yeah, I mean, they already have no one sorry, like they already accept ADA, but they don't, to my knowledge, they don't accept Trust Wallet can have ADA on it.
What?
But,
I thought it was a pegged ADA.
Oh,
it might be pegged.
I literally checked it up because I did before I brought it up because I was like,
oh,
but
okay.
I don't know if it's a pegged one or not.
Exodus has ADA, and you get staking rewards as well from Exodus.
Yeah, because that will be key when you can get a wallet that acts kind of like Trust Wallet or these other wallets that have inbuilt like web browsers and stuff that you could connect to like DeFi protocols and stuff. That will be huge. But yeah,
it's still too early. Similar pattern emerging, fucking early.
Definitely.
Lace is supposed to come out soon. No, that's supposed to be something really nice.
Who is that?
Hopefully.
What project?
Lace wallet is supposed to come out, right? Lace.
Oh yeah, but the only thing with Lace Wallet, I heard they're only starting out with desktop. So I heard it'd be like 6 to 9 months before they actually go to mobile. So
69 months, Jesus.
No.
Yeah, man. That's a little wild, man.
Nice.
That's a little wild, man. And Begin Wallet, the wallet I mentioned is already on the Apple and iOS store. I mean, Apple and Android store. So
that's the one that I got tagged in on Twitter today.
Probably, man. Probably they're making their runs right now.
Yep, there it is. That's exactly what it was.
Yep. People were talking about it. But DSQISE, let me ask you a question. So what inspired you to bring your label to what inspired you to bring your label to Web 3.0?
Man, we are like, it's like in the process. We're not even like there. The biggest thing has been figuring out like all these different ways of how we could try some things out, because like everyone's saying, like we're all super early, so it's a small amount of other people that I've slowly met that are interested in like for instance, like token gated tickets to shows or like passes and stuff, and then like redeeming them with the code that Adam Dean had made that they used at CNFTCon and at the after party, that like that back end system that he built. Like I downloaded the code, I downloaded it, but I haven't like started using it, but I want to and start to like, because that's going to be a slow adoption, right? But like just trying to find out ways that we can do it, like, because we're like, we're a small independent electronic music label, like, and so like, even to what Theo was saying earlier, like, yeah, if there's big artists that have been in the game for 15-20 years with certain labels, like what, like how, and that is just how they've made their living, because those labels they're big, they've grown they're following, they do the events around the world, those artists have grown. Like I feel like you are kind of stuck, so like, and that can be very difficult for a lot of those artists on that level. I think it's independent labels and smaller stuff has more of a chance to really hop in and find a way in this space before the bigger labels do. There will always be bigger labels doing stuff, but that's at the helm of what they're going to do, and like kind of they're going to dip their toes in what we've seen even so far in little ways, but none of them are really like, not, well, as far as I know, this is a generalization, but like a lot of them, as far as I've seen, like they'll dip their toes in like a one little area or one space, just they're just testing it, but it's not, you know, like there's not like this full like Web3 like rollout plan, because everyone's kind of like, what is happening in this space? Like, is it going to collapse in on itself? Is it a real thing? And especially if you're at this like weird juncture, but like if, you know, if you're deep in it, it's a different, you have much more conviction with all of it. But basically me getting into it because I was interested in it then led to being like, well, how can I, if other artists are interested and I believe in this tech and in this and in this space and what everyone's doing, and I really see the potential of what we can use it for and where it's all going, then how can like I pass this along to other people, like onboarding these artists like they're my friends. I'm not looking at it in a sense of like it's either like I can help you and guide you, and even as like the way that we do things now, like I split everything like 50-50 with artists and like and shit like that. It's just different. It's a different way. And so yeah, it's not, we do when we do live events and do merch sales and stuff, that makes a lot more money than right, of course, like streaming and stuff, and even Beatport sales and whatnot, just to have other routes. But so this is just another part of it. Like we're still gonna always continue doing the traditional stuff, especially in electronic music, like always putting out on Beatport and Track Source, and we have promo lists and all that. But then like, how can we create even like access to the artist and access to the catalog and things, and maybe not necessarily just individual tracks. Like I've done that myself and I'm experimenting with it, but like I don't think that's the whole plan. I think a lot of it can be like access to the artist or access to the label, access to the events, access to the artist and the label and the events, like different ways to do those types of things, and have people feel like there's more of a connection there, but being able to facilitate it. Like how can I facilitate this and help these artists that might be interested but do not have the time? Because we know, like, I mean, I'm an artist myself, and I have a hard time balancing act of, running a label and making music. Like I don't sleep a lot because of that. Like I just got to stay awake to make some stuff. So I feel like trying to figure out how to get everyone in who wants to be, and like I'm not trying to force anyone. Like it's like, hey, look, here's the door and let's figure this out together, because I see where this is all going. And so right now it's really just feeling like how the hell do we fit in this, just as I'm figuring out as an artist how I fit in it, and just trying a lot of stuff and seeing what works and seeing what doesn't. And that's I think the good part about this right now is that we are so early, but because we can do that, because a lot of times you don't get that. Everything's like 100% full speed in the music industry, and you're like, we got to just try this. But like if we screw this up, we could lose our ass. And at this point, I don't feel like I'm gonna lose my ass for testing out a lot of these different routes, and like I don't mind putting in the time and the money and the energy to figuring that out. So that way, as we go and as we grow, like me as an artist, I'm interested. So then I'm like, hey, if other artists that are on the label are interested, let's help you. And that's kind of just where I've fit our place. And if the artists go off on their own and want to just do their own thing, and like after they get into it, that's fine. Like I'm not trying to force anyone to stay there. It's just either we can grow together and then you can continue on, and that's dope, because like my goal is to really get the artist to be able to share their music and get out there and help them do that and facilitate that. And more so than I'm trying to like always just profit off of stuff. There's plenty of ways to make money, and it's not always about like trying to gut the artist, especially when I'm an artist and I'm like, I wouldn't want that to happen. Like, so, I try to come at it, not like I'm virtue signaling, but I try to come at it like we're small. And so we have this area to do things differently and try some different things out and see what works, because we will find our niche in each one of those spaces. So it was long-winded, but there.
No, but totally. I mean, we're in a creator space, and this is like an opportunity to test things out. And I actually think, if you try something out and it fails, like that actually just is giving you like credit, because you're trying to push boundaries, and that's all we're doing right now is trying to push boundaries, seeing what we can achieve. And of course, not everything's gonna work, but dude, we could like, not even just Soundrig, but like musicians, we have the opportunity to potentially change how like the music industry functions moving forward. And that's what's really cool. Like the labels, the way you guys are saying, like, yeah, it could go to, labels could become more facilitators to onboarding and, helping, musicians get comfortable putting their music on Web3. And I think that's super, super important.
Yeah, I think the big players in the industry are just going to be like, let these people do it. I mean, if they discover something amazing, we'll either buy them out or we will just join in later. But
Copy.
we don't moment, we're not taking any of the market share at all. We're not even dipping into it. So they're not really worried at the moment. And we're very, but this is a blessing in disguise because we're kind of under the radar. They don't really care at the moment. And we're not even like taking any market share out of their revenue at the moment. So we can kind of get on with it and we can prove, and like you said, so we can like experiment, try what the best parts are, and then find out like the best way forward. I mean, everyone's going to have a different way to do it. This is the beauty of Web3, right? We can all have a different avenue to get there and get adoption. But once we get that market share, that's when the big industry players are going to take notice. So they'll either see us as peers if we can integrate them in some way. If we can't integrate them in some way, or if they go against the grain and go against our philosophies, then that's where we're going to be seen as, I guess, competition. And that's the moment when they try to either buy you out and shelve you or do something else. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think like the thing about a lot, like even in this space, there is people like they're paying attention, and there's even people doing things that are smaller because it is still such a niche thing. But you know, like I've even, you know, seen labels like Dirty Bird and stuff where they did this whole NFT sale with the artwork with one of the artists that they work with for their album artwork, which has its own feel and stuff in its way. And like it was a small thing, but their community is big enough to where like they still made it work, and there's still enough interest there. And then like see how that goes, and then you get that feedback, and eventually, just like anything, like it's a slow build, but like I like that's okay. Like that's we want it to, you kind of, as much as we want it to be there, you know, it'll get there quicker than we think because technology moves at an insane pace, right? Like it's just like once something start, like as things that we've already seen already in the NFT space and everything from Cardano, from once we're able to do, you know, NFTs, and then soon DeFi and all, like, you know, but like all those things just keep going. And it's like, then when they're here after we've been like waiting for so long, then it's like, oh wow, and like no, we're like, it's our next sprint or the next big run. So, you know, there's nothing wrong with just like it being this more like small thing and figuring out how that helps us figure out how people's objections and better ways to onboard people. And then as the tech gets better, it makes it easier for everyone else too.
Yeah.
Like,
and it also allows you to make the mistakes, because if we don't make the mistakes, we won't learn from it, and we won't know which way is the best way forward, right? So it's all about being patient. That's what I'm saying. Even if we're building now, and we're so early, we need to keep a sustained effort and keep going forward. And it will build itself out, and it will probably explode before we even know it.
Well, from all the nice things that this guy just shared with us, I've kept that he's an artist first, so he has a different point of view on things, and this is really, really, really important when you have to manage and guide other artists around. Trust me, it's a totally different language, and artists appreciate that.
no, yeah, that's true.
Definitely, I agree. I'm the same way, man. I think that's a beautiful thing about Web 3.0. I think we brought our experiences from Web 2.0, especially from those that are artists, you know, from an artist perspective, to help, you know, foster and communicate, you know, to fellow artists. Like, I mean, who better to hear from than people that are actual artists? That's a beautiful thing about Web 3.0. And that's what I love about the space and the limitless amount of opportunities that present itself, you know. So I think that's cool. And we're actually winding down. We are at the 58-minute mark. So we're actually going to go ahead and get ready to wrap up this roundtable. This was actually our first roundtable. I would like to say thank you to all our guests that came. And before we get out of here, I do shout outs, man. I'm a shout outs guy. I love to do shout outs. We're going to go ahead and start with DSQISE. DSQISE, do you have any shout outs before we get out of here?
Yeah, man. Wow. Off the top of my head, obviously, shout out Listening Room. Got a big up Listening Room every Wednesday. Twitter Space, Juice, RC. So definitely there. Shout out all of you guys at Soundrig. Everyone in here, obviously. Madman, I know we just met, so pleasure with you. And shout out all the artists on Quite Right, Quite Low Records. And that's all I got so far. So yeah, that's there.
All right, Matt, you up next, man. You got any shout outs before we get out of here?
As if.
Ruby. Oh shit. Yeah, my bad. I guess you guys and Monad, of course, for just asking me to write that down. If it wasn't for him, I guess we wouldn't even have had this call. At least I wouldn't have connected this way. So big shout out to him for supporting and asking people to just speak their opinion and shit like that. I've got rug before, so yeah, it was nice. It's really nice to meet all of y'all and just to know, and all of us are in different genres and things. So it's just a beautiful. Yeah, it's nice. It's really nice. It's nice to know it's not alone in music.
Yeah, dude. I don't think anyone's alone. It's music is like all around the
You've always
world.
got a tribe when you're in this is some really fucked up demonic shit. I don't know, but even then you got some tribe.
Sonny's.
Yeah, man. I want to say this is to all the black sheep. My shout out is to all the black sheep all over the world. At the end of the day, stay different. Stay different. Do your own thing. And don't fucking follow the herd. Leave them behind. But don't forget about them. Okay, that's it.
All right, we're gonna go to Theo next. Theo, who you want to shout out before we get out of here?
Shout out to all the builders and the guides that bring people on the blockchain. I mean, all these people are the MVPs during the bear run. It's difficult.
All right, Paul, we got you up next, and then we're gonna go to Quentin.
Well, I guess I just want to give a shout out to fellow developers out there. I already dropped their name before. The guys at TX Pipe Tools, building great stuff for Cardano. And I also got to give a shout out to Mr. Alessandro for making the Nami wallet. I just forked your code a couple minutes ago, and I'm gonna have a go at that. Appreciate you, man.
Yeah.
As we talked about the open source code, you figure, I'm just gonna go ahead and take advantage.
That's what it's there for.
Exactly. All right, Quentin.
I mean, I want to thank everyone here. Thank you, Asif. Thank you, DSQISE. Thank you, AwesomeisJayell. Thank you, the Soundrig team. But yeah, thank you for everyone, especially who's talking about music and specifically like bringing it onto Twitter and making people aware of it. Like, I was so happy to see that discussion that between Asif and DSQISE on Twitter, because that's the type of thing we need to see more, and it's why I wanted to do this actually. But just thank you everyone who's talking about music and Web3 and help building a future for musicians.
Yeah. I want to add on to that. Yeah, I've been seeing a lot of posts. I definitely been seeing a lot of music posts like, hey, do you even Web3, bro? Like, do you even music Web3 stuff? And like, I get tagged in, and I'm like, oh, this is cool. Like, this is cool that we're making it aware that we got a music community here. Like, and it's not just one or two people. Like, it's like hundreds of people. You know what I mean? So, yeah, that's crazy. So it's finally happened, man. We're seeing things take shape. Not only are we watching it take shape, we're helping it take shape. So that's pretty fire. But yeah. That's all.
One question to put to everyone. Sorry, Dale. One artist from everyone who you would love to see on Web3 that hasn't been on yet now. Just one artist. Anyone?
Oh man, I actually got a wild prediction, right? I think. And this is going to be kind of controversial, but I like to see Kanye West come to Web3, right?
Oh, man, because he pulled it.
Look, man, because he's getting blackballed from everybody, right? He's getting blackballed from everybody. All his deals are gone. Wouldn't it be the perfect narrative for him to just come to Cardano? Like, just like, hey, guys, like, they cut me off, and now I'm here on the blockchain. Like, that's kind of my prediction. I think he's really going to come into... jump on some blockchain and everyone's gonna go crazy.
Let's add him, dude. Do it.
You guys are ready to face that? You guys want to get canceled too, bro? I don't know.
they're gonna cancel the whole blockchain.
Like, whatever blockchain he's on, he needs to go to Solana. Yeah, I don't even like.
It's a big
I
risk.
feel like he'll come over
Solana.
to a blockchain at some. I feel like he will make that jump probably pretty in the next like 6 months. I think you're right. It'll be somewhere.
What about you, DSQISE? Who would you one artist?
Are we talking like big artists or like
Yeah,
just
your favorite,
Any artist.
legend or whatever.
I know they never will because like fucking the Liam Howlett like just hates the internet, but like the Prodigy, even though like big up Key, like that's who like I got me electronic music and they still make the best shit, but like Liam's always been kind of like I don't know about a lot of that, so I would love to see them do some stuff on there just so I could like have some collectibles of that artist like in my wallet because I mean I went from collecting vinyl to now I literally collect like music NFTs and stuff, so it's
Liam is the goat, man.
Oh, dude, yeah, big ups the Prodigy, big ups, rest in peace, Keith.
I mean, the sampling that this guy has done, I don't know if it has happened again before.
Never heard anything like it, so yeah, nope. I would love to see that. I would buy anything. All my ADA goes there.
DSQISE, I think you should just make a little tweet, a little phone call, email, just plant the seed, man. That's all you gotta do. Plant the seed.
Yeah, exactly. I just plant the seed and be like, I don't know what this is. I'll be like, let me show you the way. Come here.
Yes.
And then we can become friends and then we'll collaborate on this track. This is how it all goes. I'm gonna bring him to the blockchain and then we're gonna release a track. There we go. That's what's happening.
You said it, now it will happen. Manifest that.
Exactly. I'm speaking into existence.
Yeah. Okay, Madman.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess from metal, Lamb of God or Nile, and electronic music, somebody like Tipper, would be really, really like, yeah, I'd love to see somebody like Tipper come on the side. It'd be beautiful. Or Richard Devine. Oh, mamma mia. Yeah.
One, bro.
yeah.
One, I say.
I just, this two, I went like, zoop, 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 and I got one is two. It's two less like.
Theo?
Oof.
Okay, you think about it. Paul?
That's difficult, man.
I thought that decision was giving you heartburn or something.
I will go ahead. Sorry, Paul. I'll go ahead and say Sasha.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Theo, by the way, I have something I need to share with you. It was this Sasha and like melodic progressive break set that he did for Virtual Burning Man that we did like the past 2 years, and it's to this day one of my favorite sets I've ever heard. So I gotta send you the link to that.
Please do. Thank you.
We're getting Sasha on, Theo. That's your job. That's your job now.
Your sole responsibility.
It's gonna happen.
Let's go. Who we got next? Matt. We back to Matt.
Paul.
I'm gonna cheat a little bit. Also, I like to give shout outs to my friends in these kinds of situations. That two of my dear friends back in Jersey who are really, really awesome, talented musicians. Jesse Bardwell and Joe Cerati, awesome dudes, incredibly talented musicians, and I want them to join the Web3 crowd and ride the wave.
You're in a unique position, Paul. You should actually just bring them to Soundrig.
I'm going to. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
Speak it into existence, right?
Exactly. You're in a very unique position, probably more so than most people out there. Okay, Theo.
I've said it.
Yeah.
I didn't hear it.
Said mine.
What happened, Sonny? Where were you?
You can rewind after we finish.
Anyway, mine was gonna be probably the king of hip hop right now. Well, since Biggie died, is Nas. NAS. If Nas was to come on Web3, he would probably bring half of the world's hip hop fans with him, I think. So,
oh man, you said Nas is a king of hip hop. That's a spicy take. That's a spicy.
And on the next round table.
And on that note,
it's got to be Nas, man. Either that for me or Jadakiss from Locks. But anyway, any one of them.
Okay.
Yeah, Soundrig, it would end game Simple.
you gonna give that spicy take right before the show ends. That's crazy.
Cliffhanger, dude. That's a cliffhanger right there. I'm ready.
That's crazy. But all right. That's it for today's show, man. That is it for today's show. And with all of that being said, this is your boy AwesomeisJayell, aka the biggest music artist in the metaverse. And don't forget to hit like, share, and subscribe. And we are signing off.
Adios.
Peace out.